Hi everyone, Ravi this side. Welcome to Engineering Adda. Today in this video, we are going to discuss about how we can implement the exception handling technique at interceptor level in our Spring Boot application. So in the previous two videos, we discussed about the interceptor concept, and then in one of the video, we discussed how we can implement the interceptor at the client level. So this is the continuation video of that client side implementation of the interceptor, where we are going to introduce the exception handling at interceptor level in the client side. Okay, so let's get started. For that, let me try to come out of it and go to the IntelliJ, where I have created these two applications. One is client side application and the second one is server side application. In the server side application, we have one API which is returning the list of a student name, and at the client side we are consuming that API through like REST template. We are calling that API and then trying to create our own API and then reflect the data that we are getting from the server side API. So here we have created this getStudentDetails method, which is calling this server side API, and internally what we are doing is we are creating a client controller which is internally calling this getStudentDetails API details method. So what is happening is, from our controller we are calling this method, and this method is internally calling the server side API. So the same result we are getting for the server side and the client side. So we are good now. Now I am going to tell you how you can implement the exception handling at the client side interceptor. So here we have developed this interceptor, and you can see that we have created our custom client side interceptor, which is implementing the client HTTP request interceptor, and inside that we have this method which is intercept, which we have to override, and we have overridden it out and then try to log the request and the responses here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce how to handle the exception here. So let's say you are calling your third-party API or server-side API, and you are logging the request here, and then what you are doing is you are trying to do the execution of the request and the body, and then getting the response out of the server-side API that you are calling. And let's say if you are getting some exception here, then how you can handle it out. So that is what we are going to introduce here. So let me try to put this piece of code in the let's say try and catch block, and there we'll try to handle the exception there. So before that, let me try to do one thing. Before that, let me try to show you one scenario. So let's say our application, this client side application, is up and it is calling the server side application. Let me try to go to the server side, and here you can see the server side application is also up and it is returning the list of student name. Now let me try to go to the client side, and here I think it is up now, and we can try to hit our API. So go to the client controller and try to hit this API. Now you can see this is the API that we developed at the client level. Let me try to hit it out, and here in the response you are getting that we are getting the response. Okay, and if you go to the console, you will find that all those things that we logged here. So we logged the URL, request URL and request method, and then headers of the request, and then we are also logging the response status code and response header. So those things we are logging here. So this API is working fine. The client side and the server side is making the correct call. Now what happens if the server side is down? Okay, server side API is not giving you the response. So in that case, how you can handle that exception? So let me try to put this server side application down, and let me try to hit this client side API again, and then see what response we are getting. So you can see that we are getting the 500 internal server error, and if you go to the console, you will find that we are getting this connection refused. Okay, so this is how we are not able to connect with the server side, and we are getting this connection refused. So how you can handle these exceptions? So this is one of the example. What what happens when you are developing a real-time application is there are a lot of exceptions that can be caused. So how you can handle those exceptions, I will give you one basic understanding of that. So how we can handle this kind of situation when let's say our server-side APIs are down, or server-side API is giving the bad request. So there are a lot of exceptions that can happen at the server side. How you can handle those for all the APIs that you are integrated from the server side in the client side. So let's say your server side has 100 APIs. Might be at the same time there is a like 2 or 3 APIs is not working, or most of them are not working. So how you can handle those things at the centralized level? So that you can do at the interceptor level. So you can do a exception handling at the interceptor level to handle the exception coming from the server side. So let me try to do that. So how we can do, let me try to show you. So just let me try to put this piece of code in the try and catch block, and HTTP servers error exception, or let's say HTTP client error exception, and just simply trying to log this get status code, some other stuff we are also going to log here. So let's say dot get full get message, and then let me try to throw this exception out here. And for time being, let me try to create a client HTTP response, and I'm just going to put these things here. And let me try to also put a finally block here, and then show you. We are in finally block. Okay. And this is one of the, like, if you are getting some exception coming from the server side or coming from the client side, for that we are putting this exception handling. Now let me try to also put the exception handling for the network error that we got here, which is connection refused error. So for that, let me try to put this IO error here. Exception IO exception, sorry. And I'm just printing out the message. Let's say we got the network error, and error is something like this. Okay, error message is this, and yeah, we are good. Now let me try to debug this application and then try to show you how it is working. So as of now, you can see that our server-side application is down, and we are handling that exception which server-side application is throwing to us at the client level, okay, at the interceptor level, at client side. Okay, so we started our application in the debug mode. Now what we are going to do is we are going to hit our API. So just go to this terminal and try to hit the API, and we are good. Now we are inside our interceptor class, and we are inside our intercept method. So if you'll go one by one, you will find that this is the request we have, and in the console you can see that we have the request. If you will expand the request, you will find that at the interceptor we have as of now we don't have anything. So you can see in the URI we have the API which we are calling, which belongs to the server side, and in the headers we have the request headers. Okay, and in the body as of now we don't have anything, and in the execution if you'll go there, you'll find this iterator, and if you'll go to this one, okay, we don't have anything. Now if you'll go inside this interceptor, again you can see that we have the methods URI and all those things, and the headers as well. So these are the details related to the request that we are generating from the client side to the server side. And if you'll go one by one, you will find, here we are inside this try block, and if you'll see that we are going inside the catch block where we are trying to catch the exception that is being thrown by the server side, and the exception is connection refused, like java.net.connection exception, where we are not able to connect with the server side API, and that is why we are getting this exception from the server side, and we are handling that exception at the client side at interceptor level. Okay, so this is one of the example how you can handle the exception at the interceptor level at your client side. Okay, there might be so many APIs from the server side that you integrated in the client side, and if they are throwing the exception, you cannot handle it one by one, right? The best practice to handle those exceptions is to handle the exception for all of those APIs that you are using in your client side from the server side at one level, which is interceptor level, and this is how you can do that. Now if you'll go, you can find that we throw that exception, and then we are finally inside the this finally block, and then let me try to come out of it. Okay. It should go to our flow. Just waiting for that. Okay, I think it will take so much of time, so let me try to close this request here, and then if you'll go to the console, you can see that what we are getting here as like we handled the exception, and we got that we got the network error, and the error message is connection refused. Okay, so you can see that we are able to handle the exception that we get from the server side, and we are also able to print out this request details, but not the response details here. Okay, so this is how you can try to manage or try to handle the exception at the interceptor level at your client side. Okay, so this is about the video, guys. If you like the video, please hit the like button, and please subscribe the channel for more such content. In the upcoming video, I will try to discuss about how you can implement the interceptor at the server level, or let's say you develop one backend application and it is having so many of APIs, and that APIs are being consumed by some UI. So how you can implement the interceptor at your backend application, that we are going to see in the next video. So this is about the video, guys. If you like the video, please hit the like button, and please subscribe the channel for more such content. Thanks.